You're on. We're on. I'm recording this week, not my actual what I'm saying, but how long I'm saying it.
Yes, you're pretty fixated already on the stopwatch.
Well, here's the thing. I think I'm in the school of. I have a new theory. It's not what you say. It's how long you say it. So, for example, if we could
That's
put
a new theory for you? That seems to be the basis of so much of what you do.
No, you see, you got me wrong. What basis of what I do is I just can't stop because there's so much coming out. You think I'm purposely trying to go long.
No, you're just a hydrant waiting for the fire department to show up and turn the wrench.
That's what I said to my wife on my wedding night. Now, you see, Josh, I've been using this new. That's what I said to my wife on my wedding night. I think it's the greatest. What would you call that? It's not a punchline, but it's a...
No, it's definitely not a punchline.
It is, though. It's an all-purpose punchline.
It's like it's like a 1.5 entendre.
Right, which is what my wife said to me on my wedding night. See?
Yeah, there you go.
Boom.
It works in every situation.
Yeah.
The same.
Yeah, and the thing is, remember we made that rule, you can't erase something just because you don't like what I said?
Yes.
I think that's hilarious what I just said about the
it's in the
how
podcast,
long.
my friend. And welcome to the podcast. Welcome to Thought Spiral.
Welcome to Thought Spiral, not The Thought Spiral.
No,
a lot of people make that
mistake. That's like
mistake.
a 60s band.
We should write that song. We should be in the 60s. We shouldn't be living now. The Thought Spiral. Not The Thought Spiral.
You actually did live in the 60s.
You know, there's no reason. Look, you're making everything about age, and I'm making everything about age because I'm hiding everything that's from the AARP.
You see the envelope? You can't open it, can you?
But I don't feel any differently. I'm going to say all the things as I age that are lies that people say. I don't feel any different.
No, my friend Chris Bliss at 50 said the only difference between 50 and 30 is a 10-minute nap or a 20-minute nap.
Oh, well, that's...
And then he recanted that at 60.
You make it sound like he has a big celebration and an aging podcast.
That would actually be a suitable last stop for him.
Well, that's what I always like to fantasize about, a show that wouldn't sell and what the forms of it are. So, like a podcast called "Old People Giving Up." Speak to elderly people, nobody famous.
No, okay, so Thought Spiral is what you're saying.
Thought Spiral.
Okay.
Nobody famous, and then each week you focus in on another aspect of the deterioration of our body and soul before we die.
That's every Jewish person over 50.
And then, because what I'm trying to say is that we have to insist that we're not giving in to the man. And the man says you have to be young, attractive.
Uncheck.
With a new, kind of like a new refreshing outlook on life.
A POV, a fresh POV.
But that's neither here nor there. This is the second episode. I told Josh, we've been having meetings all week long about what's the direction of the show, where do we see the show in 5 years?
Yes.
We
kept using the word ash heap of history a lot.
Where do you see time 5 years from now? The relativity of time and the existence of time 5 years from now?
I don't know. Time, the way the time is going during the Trump administration, I really can't vouch for how time's going to be 5 years.
This is the thing.
It's dog years plus something orange.
If you want a podcast to listen to when you think the end of the world is near, try Thought Spiral, brought to you by K Rations. They're not called K Rations. You know what's amazing? Like, do you have my problem, which is, as I'm doing the character, at least a half second into it, I'm starting to think about wrapping it up and how poorly it's going.
Yes,
You can't do that because you do more distinct characters than me.
Oh, you know me and my menagerie of characters.
You do a voice. What was your? We had a show, and we don't like to brag about what we did, but we had a show called Kids Court. And what was your? Was that a creature or was that a young man puppet?
It was a middle-aged man puppet as the bailiff. Yes, it was Bernie the bailiff.
But it's a person we were portraying.
It was a person. It was a person who talked like this.
But did you have little shoes?
It was a puppet, so the shoes were sort of irrelevant to the whole process.
See how he's able to bring the magic out instantly?
Isn't it? It was like radio theater there for a bit.
We should do that. You know what we should do? We should find old radio plays as is and then poorly recreate them now.
I think we're just the guys to not do that.
No. Our angle would be Michael Winslow would be the guy doing all the sound effects.
That's a good angle.
I've used this line several times in clubs.
Wait, I just heard someone like in the far away. I just heard someone go, "Yes, it was Michael Winslow."
Your acting has gotten better. I mean, I'm not saying it was ever bad.
No,
but the way you're
really
prankster, thing, because I actually started to listen for it to sound.
You did. You just kind of skipped down the lane with me there. Yeah. So you're just back from the Bridge.
I went to Bridgetown Comedy Festival, and I don't want to jinx myself, but I'm having really wonderful sets on stage. And it's like, why is the other?
Did you say something like that?
Why? I know I'm going to jinx it, and also it could very easily get into a Ricky Gervais. What I don't like is, which I say I won't do,
right?
Which is anything, because I just realized something. The reason why I don't like the Ricky Gervais sound, where you're like, I'm the greatest, is because I think I really would be like that if I didn't choke, if I wasn't like on myself.
Right, but you have that. You were talking earlier about the self-doubt that starts while the sentence is forming.
That's right. That's true. So I have
even
that.
As you were saying, I'm having a good set, you were doubting that you should be saying, I have a great set.
But what would you say instead?
By the way, before we go on, let me do my impression of every guy starting a comedy festival.
Okay.
Okay, got a mic stand.
You mean you're opening the comedy festival?
I am. I'm the founder of the comedy festival, doing my checklist of things I need for my comedy festival. Got my mic, check. Mic stand, check. I got Andy Kindler. I got the stage. I got lights. You're at every comedy festival, is my point.
Oh, I swear to God, I had strapped myself in. I got popcorn.
Yeah.
And I thought you were doing a one-man show.
No,
about the guy. I thought you were going to do like a wavy gravy thing.
Yeah, really?
Hey, everybody.
No, it was just that.
The first time I heard Woodstock, I was very young. I was alive and young.
That's good. I was not yet.
13 years old. And I didn't know what they were talking about when he said, like, and for those of you who think that capitalism isn't so weird, I don't understand what's happening. Did we live in a non-capitalist society at the time? Where he had declared Yasgur's farm the first of the, we're breaking down all the walls, literally.
Right. It was a utopia in mud.
Right. Nobody pays.
Right. Which was a mistake.
And then, but the greatest thing would be that everything's free.
Right.
And it just keeps going on. See, I always thought that Woodstock...
And Wavy Gravy was providing granola, apparently, by the buckets full for everyone.
I don't want this to be about my feelings about Wavy Gravy. I think did die.
I'm not sure.
I'd love this to be a regular department on the show. Is this guy dead?
He was buried at Gravy.
Wait a second. Is his name Lumpy Gravy? No, Wavy Gravy.
It was Wavy.
Lumpy Gravy is Frank Zappa, right?
No.
Maybe Lumpy Gravy is just a thing that happens when you put too much flour in a sauce.
It could be, or it could be what Wally Cleaver's friend named himself after he took acid the first time.
What did he name himself?
Lumpy Gravy.
Oh, he was Lumpy.
Lumpy Rutherford was my reference.
Oh, that's right. I can't get a read on what he was like. His father was Mel Cooley, right?
Right. Richard Deacon is the actor.
Richard Deacon. If you're of normal age, which would be not our age, but younger, get someone our age. There's many of people our age. Well, actually, you're so much younger than me, but you act older than me, though. That's the thing.
Well, that's a weird thing. That's a weird comment to handle. I don't know how to spin that back.
Well, actually, I'm probably trying to cause trouble when I should just... there's no reason to cause this kind of trouble.
I'm entering the latter half of my 40s in a couple weeks.
That's unbelievable. That's young to me. Everything is young to me. And I know I'm not supposed to be obsessed with how old I am, and that makes me just want... Everything that I know I'm not supposed to do, I have a desire to do it. Now I think a lot of people would call that self-sabotage.
I think self-sabotage, again, is another central tenet of what you've built for yourself.
Right.
And so then sabotaged.
That I want to go into the network and I want to pitch Aging Jew. It's called Aging Jew.
Okay.
It's about a guy in his 50s, 60s, early 70s, and his friends, who are some of them are 80s, early 90s,
right,
up to 100, and maybe there's one kid on the show who we yell at, and just nothing happens, and it's a pessimistic look at middle age and old.
Well, it goes along with your deterioration podcast. So it really, I see a whole genre forming in your head here. I don't know what would inspire you to this genre, but
no, I don't think I will. I don't go to pitch things. Everything I've ever pitched is, first of all, the same show.
Right.
It's the Andy Kindler show.
Right. Andy Kindler doing this.
And but what if will you have sketches? We will have some, or we will talk about whether we're going to have sketches.
There will be sketches, and I will be off to the side denigrating the sketch as I perform in it.
Will you play yourself? No. I mean, everything will be real, except the things that we don't want to be real.
Right. It's like, well, Carson used to be the greatest at another really old guy reference at recovering from the bad joke. You can just take out the pretense of having the joke in the first place and just do recoveries.
Oh, you're saying Carson was good at that?
Yeah.
Like, give me an example of one of his. You, as a student of history.
What? No, I don't do Carson really.
Well, I used to. Well, there's things that Carson said that I can't get out of my head. So, for example,
sis boom ba. What is the sound of an exploding sheep?
That one is a classic that you remember.
That's exactly why I remembered it.
But I always remembered his running things that, as a kid, I didn't quite get, but they were like, "May a weird holy man."
Do may a weird holy. Yeah, he was doing Gleason a lot.
Sneak into your room and take away your Darvon. I'm trying to think of a drug from the 80s.
May the bluebird of happiness drop trow in your jacuzzi.
You sound like almost like a haunted version.
I was like, it was really in between, you know. But when you're trying to think of the text and trying to do the impression.
Well, I told you before we did this podcast that I wanted you to definitely go into your characters, but try to do it in a organic way, right from the conversation.
Right. Well, that's why I turned around.
You said, which it didn't require.
No, but
it didn't require it all. Now, this is our second show, and the reaction to the first show, the critical reaction.
Very critical.
In my own head.
Very, very critical. You saw, speaking of old and friends, you saw my old friends in Portland. Yeah,
you know what's strange is that if in either a comedy duo or a conversation, you know, someone gives you the premise, you're supposed to go right into it. So you already said I was in Portland. I should have launched into a number of anecdotes about being in Portland.
Well, apparently on a platter isn't enough for you. Maybe
yes, I saw
spoon-fed from a platter.
I saw Frank Conniff up there,
my former Cinematic Titanic partner,
and Trace,
my former Cinematic Titanic and Mystery Science Theater partner.
And is his last name is Ballou?
It's either Ballou or Beaulieu. He'll correct you either way and screw you pretty much.
Well, that makes it hard. That's
like the official pronunciation is Beaulieu, and that's how he'll tell you. But I'll hear him say
Beaulieu.
Trace Ballou sometimes.
Well, I think of it because I was a big fan of Cat Ballou when I was a kid.
Right, different spelling, but I think of that too still.
Do you think we need to have another podcast that goes along with this podcast that tells like young kids what Cat Ballou meant?
They actually do that with Mystery Science Theater episodes. They put out annotated versions of Mystery Science Theater on YouTube.
Has there ever been an idea I've come up with where you went, that's a very unique take?
It could happen. If we just talk for an hour a week, yeah, I think something's going to come out.
As long as there's life, there's hope is going to be the catchphrase on my show. I'm still breathing. Yeah, so we went to Portland, and we went to the deli called Kenny and Zook's, which is a deli that Josh has been to.
Many times, one of my very favorites.
And Josh and I, we're not, neither one of us would use the word foodie without kind of like making a sarcastic face.
Right.
Would you?
I just made it. I just kind of winced as you
we're
said it.
foodies.
We're food likers.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound, I think anything that becomes it's like when anything that becomes something that you use more than a couple of days.
Foodie sounds like you should have a costume involved, really.
Foodies.
Yes.
It also makes it sound too cute.
Yeah. And
Eating
it's not
is
cute.
serious business.
Us eating at a deli, not cute. Not cute at all.
No, you know, my new book, which is called Delis Are Problematic.
Really?
As I've gotten older in life, and boy, have I. Let's look at the viewer mail today. Dear Thought Spiral, I know that life is finite, regardless of whether you believe in an afterlife, and I also am aging. Please, can you have Andy stop talking about how old he is on the show? First of all, while he's doing that, he's not being funny.
Well, that's not always true, but...
love a concerned viewer. Why do they love a concerned viewer? Is it a letter I'm getting, or is it email?
That's the passive-aggressive way of criticizing you.
Now, you have to remember, what were we just talking about? Do you know?
We were talking about Kenny and Zook's Deli.
Right. Foodies. Right.
I had a comedy. It wasn't as good as seeing all my friends in Portland, but I was at Arts Deli in Studio City.
Where every sandwich is a work of art.
Exactly. And by the way, Studio City, there's 30 pot stores and one studio, and they still call it Studio City.
Wait a second. Wait a second. What's the studio that's there?
MTM, Radford, CBS Radford.
Oh, do you know that it's the first time that I knew that Studio City stood for the studios.
What were you thinking?
A studio
here in L.A. What were you thinking?
It could have had the largest concentration of studio apartments.
Oh, there you go. Very sensible.
By the way, a lot of people say, who's who on the show? I'm not Josh.
And I'm constantly not Andy.
Right. So maybe we should need more station IDs. So no, for some reason, I do not get obvious puns a lot. And it's not even a pun. I know it's not a pun. You're going to argue it's not a pun.
I'm not going to argue.
Well, but for example, Tarzana. I'll never forget now that it's named after Tarzan.
Yeah.
But most things I don't get the significance of. Like even if it's called I can't think of one old studio guy now. The Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers Court.
Yeah. Who's this named after? Oh, the Warner Brothers.
Wow, I've never put that together before.
But pun names I definitely don't get. A lot of places are named like puns, like restaurants.
And yet you still do go to the law firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. I don't know why you haven't gotten that yet.
I love puns. I love wordplay.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like...
You just don't get it, is what you're saying?
I just don't like the people who engage in it.
I understand. It's like improv
and
kind of.
their examples.
Yeah.
When I'm being corny, I like to think that I have that I'm corny but hip.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I think if that is that belief that keeps you in comedy, isn't it?
Do you really need a belief to continue going?
I think you need some sort of belief.
Well, here's what I have as a belief. When I look at that bank account, my friend.
That's just,
you know what I'm saying? And I look at my property. Or I look on that website, what's he worth? What am I worth?
Right.
They say like I'm worth $1 million.
Well, I know since you moved into the neighborhood, and we are neighbors, by the way.
Have you been
the celebrity
snooping around?
The celebrity home tours have quadrupled through the neighborhood.
I would be happy to sell someone a map to my home, walk them in, do a meet and greet. But when I saw Josh, we live around the block from maybe you want to jot some of this down, but we live around the block from a Pavilions.
True, but it's going down soon.
It's going down, and I love this Pavilions because I've never in my life had a supermarket that you could walk to.
Yeah, it's pretty great, and now it's going to close for a year.
Yeah, and they're going to do a remodeling on it. But I came up with the greatest excuse that everyone can use if you don't want to have a conversation with somebody at a supermarket.
Yeah.
I said to you, I've got ice cream.
You did. I saw Andy in the parking lot, and he prefaced the conversation with, "I can't talk long. I have ice cream." So it's like,
and it was actually the truth,
right? But
now,
it still sounded like very
dismissive.
Well, certainly like defensive.
Well, I'm always offensive. Yeah. I think we've established in this.
But there was something old timey about I've got worrying about I've got ice cream. It's like it was like
I've got ice cream.
Yeah, see, it
everything
still
I
sounds
think of is
old-timey.
could it be a catchphrase or a hook?
The other thing that you brought to the neighborhood, which coincidence, maybe not, was the under 5'8" and under men's store.
This is very exciting, and we don't want anybody. Believe me, we don't want anybody snooping around here. Okay, so as far as you know, we live in.
Yeah, maybe that was too much of a landmark, but you put it.
Doesn't matter. I'm not going to be. If someone wants to harm me,
yes.
Believe me, I'm never going into that store again. No, it's Jimmy O's 5'8" and under.
And have you gone in there?
I haven't gone in there yet. I think now, are they still in Beverly Hills, or is this their new home?
I have no idea.
But this is a dream for me. I am a 5.5, or as Boris Hamilton calls me, Cinco de Mayo. 5.5. There's humor in it, and when you are my size. And you have like a thick neck, 17.5-inch neck, and 32.
So you're big and short, is what you're saying.
Big and short store.
Yes.
That's why I get it coming and going over there. You can't get anything that you can buy, what we call, I don't want to get too technical, off the rack.
Right.
But Jimmy O's is for 5'9" and under. I'm in the sweet spot.
Right.
I'm like one of the taller people.
Just to be able to buy a suit that doesn't have the hole in back for the ventriloquist hand. Must be great.
What is that joke? That they're so ill-fitting?
Tiny is what I'm saying.
I probably still don't get that joke.
Well, when you play it back.
You're saying that that most of the suits at the short man shop come with a hole in the back?
No, I'm saying before the short man shop, all the suits came with a hole in the back, and now, thank God, the short man shop is here.
Oh, so that's the only advantage of having a short man shop is that you no longer have to wear a suit.
Otherwise, you don't. Yes, you can shop somewhere other than ventriloquist stores as well.
Let me see if I can. And we're back with a humorless man.
No,
let me
grind it down to a powder.
Let me see if I can get this straight.
Okay,
Are you telling me that the only clothing that was available for people 5'9" and under was clothing that you also could use to pick the person up and manipulate them?
Yes, Chester. That's what I'm saying. Now I'm going to say it while drinking a glass of water.
Hi. They don't know what I'm doing. They don't know what we're doing. I like to use they can't see what I'm doing as an all-around excuse for why something isn't funny.
Radio ventriloquism. It's been explored.
Yeah, but when your hero, Charlie McCarthy.
Oh, God. Please don't start me on Charlie McCarthy.
Well, what was his name? Edgar Bergen?
Edgar Bergen was the human.
Okay, that's Candace Bergen's dad.
Yes.
But he wasn't funny on the radio, right?
I don't know what was going on with that. He was never funny after the radio, as far as I could tell growing up.
Now, why did the dummy, and I only use the word...
But he wasn't a good ventriloquist either. His mouth moved quite a bit.
Right, which is why radio was not a problem for him.
Which is the hilarious ventriloquism conundrum.
Well, they would listen to him radio and go, I love this guy, but I'm going to tell you something. If I ever see him live, I hope he's as good with his not moving his lips.
But he was a nightmare. He was a nightmare sibling for poor Candace Bergen.
He was her father.
No, Charlie McCarthy.
Oh, did you just sell? Are
you
selling that as a joke?
No, I'm not selling. I'm selling that as the reality that she grew up with.
Did you read some book about the dummy and me?
Yes, the one that she wrote.
I'm not the dummy?
No, I'm not the dummy. You're the dummy.
That's the name of the book? And it dealt with all these serious topics?
It's like Knock on Wood, though, or something like that.
All right, so in other words, her feeling, let me see if I can guess some of it, because that's what I knew would be a great game show. You read the book, I guess what's in it.
Right.
Okay, so
that was high school for me, by the way.
Answering everyone's questions?
No, pretending I read the book.
Oh! I don't know why I clapped, but if we need to be in sync.
We're almost 5 for 5 for me having to explain my jokes to the co-host of the show.
It only makes it funnier.
Yeah.
Also, me slamming my drink on the table.
That's good. That's something our new producer, Alex, will take out.
Alex, it's Andy. How are you? We got this young kid. This kid's got a lot of get-go in him.
He does.
He's got up and coming going.
That's right.
There's a lot of buzz about him.
He pretended to be excited about working with us.
I know, but he's the greatest person in the world. And he'll always be a kid. He's Alex the kid. Because I've never had that part of my life where I could say to him, hey, Alex, hey, kid, go down and get me a scratch-off.
He's in the East Coast, but sure. He'll mail you a scratch-off.
I hope that I never actually asked someone to go get me a scratch-off.
You're kind of a shine box kind of a guy.
That's a Goodfellas reference.
Yes, it's a Goodfellas reference.
No, but for one split second, I couldn't remember the difference between Casino and Goodfellas. But I remember Goodfellas, I watched 75 times.
Right.
Which Casino I haven't watched 75 times.
I guarantee you Scorsese
doesn't care?
Blurs the two constantly in his head.
And I just want to say that Martin Scorsese, I did not mean any offense. The one thing I can't affect from this podcast is my acting career. You know what I mean? I don't want to say anything that would... I don't want to do a long bits about casting directors who bother me.
Right, okay.
I want to get in movies.
Right.
And I need to get into them. I need to have humor stories about being on the set.
Producers, remember, Andy is offer me an audition only.
Offer me an audition only.
Yes.
Now you go ahead. I'll just show how good I am. You give me an emotion and a direction, and I'll go with it.
Racked with self-doubt.
Okay.
And Jewy.
I can't believe it. Why? I don't think I can do this. It seems too hard.
No,
you
I'm
ever
sorry.
Get that feeling that you get?
We're looking for an Andy Kindler type.
And then they give me Andy Kindler. Let me give the. I forgot how that joke goes, but do you remember the full? Get me Andy Kindler. Get me Andy Kindler type.
It's
something like that.
That's the progression.
You know what's really great radio is having me try to remember jokes.
I think it'll really trim up nicely, though.
I just heard a sound. See, we're recording, and our whole thing is we are recording in a very expensive studio in Detroit. Where were the famous podcasts? Did I tell you about my idea for the podcast?
No,
Only
please. We
available
could use one.
Only available on vinyl.
Nice. I like it.
So here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
They have to get a record player.
Right.
They have to get clean their cartridge.
Uh-huh.
And it's very expensive because we're going to use really good grade vinyl.
Right.
So it's probably $20, $25.
Available only in a brick and mortar store. As
Brick
well.
and mortar store.
Okay.
No. Oh, you don't think? I thought mail. What's Amazon called? Is that a mail-in thing?
That'd be internet.
Yeah. So it's kind of like Amazon.
Okay.
And then
so it's modern.
It's modern.
Okay.
So it's $25, $30, whatever we can get, and then they just get to listen to us talk about the freeways with really amazing,
Like high
frequency
quality
response.
vinyl. Okay,
Very
good.
warm.
Nice.
That's the thing that bothers me about most podcasts is the digital sound.
The accessibility is kind of a problem.
And the digital sound. They don't get, and like the reason why the 70s DJs sounded like that was because they were recording on analog. Why did they talk? Do you have a theory about why they talk like that?
I don't have a theory.
Well, let me hear your 70s DJ.
This is the big one at 105. It's a big old traffic jam on the 118 today. That's all I got.
It was
Because I was doing my impression of your impression.
my impression of your impression. 65 degrees downtown Los Angeles. All right, look, you'll know it's the last podcast when I devolve into my 4-hour disc jockey impression.
Tom Servo, the puppet on Mystery Science Theater, was actually based on a 70s DJ. It was kind of the Tom Servo mighty voice, talking like this.
And who was that guy?
Tom Servo was the robot that I played.
No. But who was it? Wasn't there a character like it sounds like Douglas Do Right, a little bit. And we'll be back with people who know very little about the present or the past, but still want to. Why is it that I know so little, and yet I want to open the door with what I think is an interesting question, which isn't even a question.
Yeah,
it's like H2O.
It's like you're setting yourself up to misunderstand.
Yeah,
that's good.
Is H2O? Is that 2 H's and 1 O?
Yes.
Okay, and then that's it. Repeats.
Yes.
Ad infinitum.
Yes.
All right. So, have we covered anything that we should cover? I mean, what were you? I can't. There's no through line. There's a thought spiral.
Right.
And the whole idea of it is, I originally wanted to do a show where you get topics, assignments,
right,
and it's rigid.
Right.
I wanted to call it beginning, middle, and an end.
Okay.
And I wanted to have a B story.
The Andy Kindler Structure Cast.
Andy Kindler Structure Cast. But it'd be like a perfect podcast. So we have the A story, which is, hey, how was your week?
Right.
How was your week and everything? You tell me how the week was. But then the B story is, okay, what do you think about this? Let me try a B story out on you, right?
Uh-huh.
So ask me about my week.
Hey, Andy, how was your week?
Oh, I have this stomach pain. That's been happening every
Oh no. Oh no.
So this would be if you wanted to do a Marcus Welby type of thing.
Okay, maybe we could do it would be cool if we could maybe do Facebook Live so people could try to diagnose you in real time.
This is the only thing. Is this the thing that's making, what would you say currently is stopping our podcast from going viral?
Well,
I can't even get my computer to go viral, by the way.
No.
It rejects viruses.
Really? It's immune.
Yeah.
The porn sites just reject you.
It's the positive side is...
They just go, are you a cop when you go to the porn sites?
No, but let me tell you something. Are you a cop is exactly, oddly enough, what my wife said to me on our wedding night.
Wow, that almost is a joke.
No,
that's almost a joke.
It is
a
joke.
That's
You're
almost
resistant to it because you
Catskill-ish.
think the punchline's the same.
No, I'm saying that it fits sometimes.
That was pretty close, right?
That was pretty close.
Well, I think you are. You would not normally approve of my methodology, which is to use the same punchline. See, Josh pointed out to me, which I use as an example all the time, of my, I think, innate laziness as a comedy writer.
I don't think I said it like that, though.
No, I want to use the word lazy to not mean the voice that I use in my head every day. Like, get that. Why are you waiting on your passport? You have to renew it before Montreal. What are you, lazy? I don't mean it like that. I mean the actual laziness of, you said that I'm the only comic who would do 2 examples of the same joke. It wouldn't change the second example. So the joke was the DJs who think they're funny and they sound like comedians, but nothing they're saying is funny. And they go, "That was Aerosmith. Dude looks like a lady. Watch out, fellas. There's a dude walking around, might have some kind of a dress on." And then I do another example of it. I go, "That was Aerosmith. Janie's got a gun. Watch out, everybody. Janie's walking around with some kind of a firearm." And you pointed out to me that any comedian worth their salt would change the second example.
You know, I was still like
mystified by it, right?
Yeah, listening to it, going, "Why? There's every other band in the world that you could do a joke on."
Now, do you know? Okay,
it's like the
do you
biggest
want my
buffet.
reasoning? You want me to reason with it?
Yeah, because you thought of it that day, it worked, and you were done.
No, yeah, because the easiest thing to think of in the moment
Right.
was another song by the same band.
Sure.
And by that night, who cares about that joke anymore? That joke is going to be just grudgingly delivered, like all my material.
All right, okay.
Because my whole thing is, what do you people want from me? I already wrote the joke.
Right. Why should I have to do it again and again?
Yeah, I'm not Don McLean. Nobody wants to hear my jokes over and over again.
That's your internal monologue again, too.
Yeah, but actually, like I used to joke about people who do the theater every night. You know, people, I've done a chorus line for 20 years, and every night I find something new. You know?
Right.
I don't want to have to look that hard.
Right.
So I should tell myself that every night when I go out on that stage, I am committed to my jokes. But that gets back to what I was saying originally, was I was at Portland. I saw Frank Conniff, Trace Beaulieu at Beaulieu.
There you go.
You know, Josh, you can't just make faces at me because we're on radio. That can't be. If 3 weeks from now you start giving me time signals, chop, chop, chop.
It'll only be chop, chop, chop. It'll never be the stretch one.
I'll never get the stretch sign?
You'll never get the stretch sign from me.
Okay, so I was up there, and I forget what I was going to say.
Frank Conniff, Trace Beaulieu.
Yeah, why did I launch back into that?
Oh, God, if I knew. I'd be talking right now if I knew.
Oh, man. This is the only thing. The reason why it's...
Big Deli Lunch, Ron Lynch, I saw was there in your Twitter picture.
That was Ron Lynch. Now, my thing is, I've known Ron Lynch, and I hate to say how long we've known each other. That's how long I've known him. We went to college together.
Oh, really?
And I can't stop mocking him. And the reason why I can't stop mocking him. Yeah, and the reason why I can't stop mocking him is every single thing with him turns into some kind of like a... You know that you're... In other words, he's the funniest guy in the world.
Right.
Every time I've done a show with him, there's nobody funnier in the show. I love to perform with him.
Right, but he has a bit going on all the time.
He has a bit going on all the time, and it's always going to be, not all of it's going to be things he's fucking up, but a good percentage of it is like, I was going to meet Frank and Trace for lunch, and then I get a call from Ron Lynch. I see his face come up. I don't know how they started with the faces coming up.
Uh-huh.
But I see his face, and it's 11:15. If I work everything perfectly, I will get there to noon because I'm OCD. What I can't do is, and I know what he's going to say. I was exactly right about what he was going to say.
Okay.
I didn't even know he was invited to the lunch. That's the way Frank Conniff rolls.
Uh-huh.
He tries to keep everybody. No, it was great. It was great that he was coming to the lunch. Also, Jonah Ray was there. It was fun.
The fact that Frank Conniff organized something is pretty miraculous in and of itself. I have to say.
Wow. See, I always think of everybody as being more organized than me.
No, Frank is not an organizer.
So I knew what Ron was going to... What do you think that I predicted that Ron was going to say at 11:15 for the lunch at 12?
What time should we leave?
Well, and then, of course, we weren't planning to leave together, right? You understand that, right?
Okay.
But,
right?
So why are you asking me... was Ron asking me what time we're leaving? Shouldn't you already be planning to get there?
Well, I thought you would know.
Right, and that's the whole thing, and that's been our relationship since the 70s.
Right.
So what he's saying is, I ordered a Lyft, right?
Uh-huh.
And I paid from my goddamn hard-earned money.
Right.
I paid for that Lyft. I will give you 50-50 odds that Ron Lynch has had some kind of snafu with his credit card.
Uh-huh.
And I will give you 50-50 that he can't use a Lyft or an Uber.
Yeah.
So...
Wow.
He knew that this has nothing to do. This is shtick. I'm telling you. This is the way his mind is organized. So I'm very proud of myself because I'm in therapy. But I'm very proud of myself that 30 years ago I would have answered the call, which would have made me late.
Okay.
And I would have had someone and I could see someone this is one of my problems is I see someone who I respect in my head WWJD. What would Josh do?
Really?
I do think that.
Do you
And
really?
I think of you as like, some people's thing is you answer that phone when it rings. Don't some people say that? But now that I think of it, I think you probably let a lot of calls go to voicemail.
I let a lot of calls go to voicemail. I really do. I let a lot of calls go to voicemail. I'll check them right away. But I want that buffer.
Right. So I think that 30 years ago, I would answer the phone, making us both late for the lunch, and me feeling angry about it. I said, I know what he's calling for, and I knew it. I'm a psychic person.
Right, okay.
Like I didn't know he was supposed to be at the lunch. But then when he came 15 minutes late, 20 minutes late.
Okay.
So I say, hey, Ron, did you call me at 11:15 and also 11:20? And I was absolutely right. And so I consider it emotional growth to abandon your friends, your past friends, because of their idiosyncrasies. Let them be late on their own.
Right, because you had your idiosyncrasy to deal with in that 45 minutes.
Right, because I'm already Ron. Ron Lynch is just like me, except I don't call somebody.
Right. Knowing your playing field is important, I think, when you're dealing with that shit, though.
Right.
If you have to be places on certain times, you got to know, you got to back time it. Like what's going on? Can I ask with your OCD? Like 45 minutes in a hotel room before you're supposed to be somewhere. What is your OCD making you do in that hotel room to get out the door?
All right. Well, now tonight. Let's just look at tonight.
Okay.
Because I was how close was I?
You were pretty close tonight.
Pretty, but 5 minutes late.
You weren't late enough to text me that you were coming late.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And in fact, I was going to say this to you, not as a humorous line, but just a somewhat slightly amusing thought, was that I was going to text you, but I didn't want to be 6 minutes late to text you that I was going to be 5 minutes late.
Understood.
So I'm not saying that's going to be the line that I retire on, like get her done. Right. So what happens is, okay, I have to now, in the old days, I would go and do things that would make me late because I wouldn't be able to understand what was happening. So, for example, I took a shower last night. I promise you I did. Okay. So I knew I didn't have to take a so I knew I didn't have to. Now, do I love the I hope I don't start asking myself questions. Do I like showers? No. I would love to take
Suddenly you're Robert Evans. Would I take that shower again? You bet your ass I would.
The kid stays in the shower. That's not a bad joke, Josh.
No.
Well, why can't you laugh?
I did a chuckle. I don't like the sound of my giggle.
Okay, so I say to myself, these are the wise decisions I made that kept me only 5 minutes late.
Right.
I showered. It's not like today I went out and ran.
Right.
Because I really am angry I really get angry when I happen to use a 48-hour antiperspirant, it says.
Really?
But I don't believe it.
No, that's a weird time. Too.
Yeah, what are you saying?
Why are you giving him permission to not shower for 2 days?
That's exactly my point.
Yeah.
So I knew that I hadn't done anything that would require having to have a shower.
Okay.
So I eliminated that. I eliminated the what was the other thing I eliminated?
I don't know.
Shower. Oh, the texting you.
Right. Okay.
Right. And then I was able to accomplish eating something without that making me late. And that could make me late by, maybe I'll whip up an omelet.
Right. Or maybe I'll make a 3-day cassoulet.
Ooh, I like that.
That's something I heard on the radio last night.
A cassoulet, let me think, that's like a casserole, but it more congealed?
A lot of stewed, long, slow cooking meats.
You mean a lot of things that remind you of me thinking about Louis C.K.'s success?
Just stewing in its own juices, yes.
That would be a horrible dish. Me stewing in,
in Kindler juice?
Well, yeah, or trying to make Louis C.K.'s juices.
So bitter. It's just so bitter.
It's so bitter. More sugar for sure. So
we talked about online Andy last week. So
we talked about online.
We won't go back there.
Okay, so now the actual time that I'm putting into double checking the lock or something. Okay, on a trip like this, I didn't have to do it because Susan's still home, so I can almost be secure in the belief that she will turn off the fire that I started.
Right.
That I'm working with different chemicals that are okay by themselves.
Right,
but if you combine them,
sure.
they're dangerous.
Sure.
And I did not check to see how far those chemicals were from each other when I left the house.
Right.
And then that I cleaned up my desk. I always have to clean up my desk. And the road, it's always like misunderstanding how much time before the show,
Right.
and then forgetting things like my phone or my wallet or things like that, and having to go back to the room.
Gotcha. But do you ever have? Does the system ever like totally break down for you, or do you pretty much keep your shit together?
Well, my big problem is panicking in general. I'm a panicker. I remember panicking when I was a little kid. When I lost my friend. I was hanging out with my friend, and I lost him, and I was like, ah! So I panic quickly. So I want to stop panicking, but there are certain things, like when I go to, this is one thing that keeps me late probably, is if I have to get up at 9 in the morning, and then I can't go to, oh, sorry about that.
That's all right.
I'm sorry that real life intruded. That's a text. Zach, my development deal came through.
What?
That threw me off. That's an example of completely threw me off.
Yeah.
So what was it? Do you know what I was saying?
You were talking about OCD, and you were talking about the things that you go through and the things that.
Yeah, but you and I have not yet been able to identify what I was just saying. I think if I'm going to have a partner, I should have had this at the audition.
That's like you're thinking more of a thought caddy, is what you're thinking of.
Oh, okay. But I was on the road. Oh, my freak out. I don't want to freak out for the rest of my life because I'm late for something. And that's the thing that I have to, and that's how I get like, I'm going to get in serious trouble with my mom or dad.
The fear is parental shaped, that kind of
No.
authority?
Because I have OCD,
right.
And my OCD is complicated, is heavy on the pseudo-intellectual side. So in other words, yes, it's possible that you could have hit somebody in your car that you don't have hit, and then by the time you go around the block, like a person could have crawled off into the bushes.
Right.
So it's always things like, of course I know that I'm a grown man and my parents can't punish me.
Sure.
So of course I know that, but that's intellectual.
No, I understand. That's why I'm asking. Is it that flavor of?
It's that kind of
trouble,
flavor of thing,
versus going to jail trouble.
No, but
it's disapproval as opposed to punishment.
Right, but the interesting thing about jail that you bring it up, and I should never say something interesting because it never is when you say it, is that's one of my fears is going to jail.
I think that's a lot of people's fears.
Right, but like if you say you're like one of the reasons why it took me so long to figure out I needed help was like if you're germ phobic, and like that should be like Howie. Everyone knows about Howie Mandel. What do we know about him? He's not that funny.
Right.
And he washes his hands all the time.
Right.
When someone has the obvious things that you can even look at, like I went for help because I thought the idea of hitting someone in my car and not knowing it didn't make any sense to me. You know,
right.
That sounded like I need help. But but my thing is to always imagine the worst thing that's going to happen to me. So I always imagine going to jail at the end of half the things I worry about going to jail. There's 3 different endings I don't want to have happen: torture.
Right.
Jail.
Okay.
And the fact that I said 3 is a lie. I'm sure I could think of 10 more.
Right.
Quicksand.
Well, you don't have to worry about jail.
Right.
You could probably do a little more to prevent torture.
I think so.
Just a little more.
I'm very annoying online.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't someone when I'm outside want to throw a blanket on me and throw me into the back of a car? And I saw every Superman TV show serial.
Right.
Just keep driving, Miss Lane.
Yes, it's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman. Let them buy the DVD. I wish I were bitter. I was bitter, which Josh saved the day on that. But that's you're going to learn a lot of things on this podcast slowly. This is funny to me because this implies that people are going to hang around more than a couple of episodes.
Right. Oh, this is not for me, is what I think people will say.
So, do you think we should hire a thought caddy? You know, like have a person right here and just read me back every second.
Just, I think they could take notes on what you were saying and maybe like jot explanations to jokes down for you, before you have to verbalize.
Okay, so I need either a memory class or I need a babble for a thought caddy or one of those babbles for remembering my own babble. Now you look very healthy, and I'm not.
I'm feeling good. Thank you.
I don't talk. You know, I don't. I'm not Ricky Gervais who makes fun of people based on their weight, fat shames.
No,
but I do notice that you have a little skip in your step. But let me say, I don't think I've ever noticed that you had a skip in your step.
No, well, it's a 25-pound lighter skip in my step right now.
But I mean,
from the dumbest diet, the stupidest diet in the world.
Is that how it's pitched? Like Diet for Dummies?
No, but it becomes very apparent very quickly that you're on the dumb diet.
Okay, I don't know if you know that I'm a foodie.
We talked about this earlier.
No, but a nutrition-y.
Yeah.
I know so much about food. I know so little about food, and I'm so arrogant about what I think I know.
Really?
That I think you definitely want to run your diet by me.
Well, it's like a.
You don't call it a diet, right? First of all.
No, it's a diet. It's
Okay.
a diet.
Did you get it from a book?
No, it's like part Atkins, part keto. It's, keto. Do you know, have you ever heard of keto dieting? Which it's basically fat.
Keto?
Don't be discouraged.
You can't sing songs that we have to get rights for.
That's right.
That way he was going to do Jose Feliciano's version of. You don't need to know. Well, we can talk about it all we want.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to have the rights to Blackbird right now.
Chico and
that
the
song
Man.
goes in the middle of the night. I can't do any more than that.
I don't know that song. I could never. Even
You don't know
hum
that
it.
many Beatles songs? There's one called Michelle.
I don't speak French, so I've never heard that song.
Oh, Quel Dommage.
Oh.
You know what that means? It's too bad.
No, so that'd be C'est Dommage, actually. But
Well, there's two. There's C'est Dommage and Quel Dommage. What a pity is what I said.
Okay.
This is a pity is C'est Dommage.
Right.
I love how superior I feel.
You're French already. You're French already.
I took 10 years of French in school and I learned nothing.
I took 5 years in school and I learned nothing.
And
I screwed it up with the 4 or 5 years of Hebrew I was forced to take. So they would blend in my head.
But it didn't hurt with our whole life thing. Look at you. It's fit perfectly into our lives.
Absolutely.
All these things.
I'm still not speaking French and Hebrew.
So you went on your own?
I do. In terms of the diet?
Yeah, but did you study up for it?
No, I'm a fat guy for life, so I've been on lots of diets. I know all the basic principles here. So
I'm a fat
it was
guy.
actually Tom Segura who inspired me. Tom's lost like 50 pounds.
Wow. So I haven't inspired you.
You have
I'm
never
gaining
in my recollection
slowly.
have you inspired me. No.
You know what I'm doing? I'm yo-yoing up and down.
Are you?
Between 160
I'm nodding as you're saying
165.
that, just the power of suggestion.
Oh, I could lose it anytime I want. I choose to keep it for comedic purposes.
It's always funnier. I'm worried that I'll lose my edge.
All right, so tell me, I know that it's a real diet, but
It's
give me
the whole
what's the
principle.
parameters?
The principle of it is basically fat is good for you, sugar is terrible for you. So it's trying to train your body to burn fat for energy, essentially. So they're proposing, the keto people propose.
Well, how do you spell keto?
Keto.
Okay.
So
and isn't that a word that
like
means
ketosis is what you're in when you're burning fat for energy.
Okay, and I once had ketosanazole cream.
Really? And what was that for?
I never got it right.
You had
Keto.
spilkas in your Genekkegezoint?
Where is that line from?
I don't know. It's something from
Something
somewhere in the
embedded
Yiddish
deep within us?
recesses of my mind.
Do you think we could sing Jewish songs all day long on the show?
If they were public domain Jewish
Yeah,
songs.
like
Not Neil Diamond.
But does Neil Diamond have a? Or if we start to sing the songs from Yentl, then we're in a whole different problem.
True enough.
Okay, so no sugar. Have you eliminated sugar?
Yeah, all the sugar, all the carbs are gone pretty much.
Okay,
except for incidental kind of carbs. So
You mean like if you
the ideal
you
keto,
fall into a carb?
The ideal exactly. The ideal keto diet is like 75% fat, like 20% protein, and like 5% carbs.
Wow.
So
Now,
there's all sorts of keto things where they like have you add actually add in another 2 tablespoons of butter just to bring it up to
Oh,
I
I
can't
see.
do that shit. I can't keep that percentage. That's sickening. So it's more it's sort of somewhere between Atkins and
Right.
keto, but it's work. I've lost like 25 pounds and I'm working out too. So.
now, are you hungry?
No.
And you don't think about sugar?
Occasionally I do. I eat raspberries. That's my big sweet now.
Oh! See, this is always the story.
No,
I get.
you're allowed
People
to.
say
You're
they
allowed
cut out
to.
sugar.
No, it's low carb.
And then they turn. No, I know. It's also probably. Do they say anything about glycemic at all, or they don't talk about that?
Well, they talk about the glycemic load of various foods.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Well, the thing that they're saying.
So it's any vegetable that grows above ground, basically. You're good with.
What? That's crazy. You went from one type of diet to a geographical.
No, that's part.
Well, what
that's
does it
a
matter
tenet.
where they grow? Why can't they grow under the ground?
Well, if you can.
Oh, because
you can
they're all
eat
carbs?
Yeah, everything that goes under the ground is carbs.
Do you think it's because they're slower?
all the root
the
vegetables,
carbs are slower.
All the root vegetables. Yes.
You're saying carbs are root vegetables? I don't like root vegetables. Why am I eating pretzels or root vegetables?
No, pretzels are tree fruit.
Yeah, you can have a pretzel tree, not in this climate.
No, you can't grow them here, but
Well, what you're saying, though, remember I told you, I think I told you, I don't remember if it was this podcast. I know it was. But I'm a fake expert about food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a book, and it's a really great book by Gina Colada. It sounds like a joke name. It's not a joke name. She's a science writer for the Times. It's called Rethinking Thin.
If you like Gina Colada or getting caught in the rain, yes.
You know how great that is, right? That song. Have we talked about it already?
No, we haven't.
Okay, but you know what happens there, right? Well, we'll talk. Maybe we'll save it for when we really have nothing.
Okay.
Because he also wrote a song about suicide.
Rupert, what's his face?
Holmes.
Rupert Holmes, okay.
So this book called Rethinking Thin was based on the fact that they did this long-term study on Atkins people, and they found their cholesterol was fine.
Right.
So the whole idea that we would they tried to shoehorn us, and I say shoehorn literally, where they had everything in the 80s that was non-fat. It was all like Snackwell cookies.
And it was all sugar.
It was all sugar.
Yeah.
And that they messed up our metabolism for a generation to come.
And corn syrup is the other big culprit in all of this.
You know, now, this is the thing. I sometimes disagree with scientists.
Yeah.
That sounds like the worst statement because it doesn't say, like, you have a good reason to do it.
No, I just like,
No, because I really believe
that it's part of your menu of options.
Well, I'll give you a perfect example. You could take psilocybin as the active ingredient in mushrooms, and they used to take psilocybin. You know, the people get high that way.
Right.
But I think you get a different high if you eat the mushroom in its natural state. So I do think they even say, they go, oh, well, fructose is the same as organic cane sugar. I don't believe it is necessarily the same.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, and now, but I'm not saying I think that the Earth is flat or that there's no global warming.
I think if you're going to disagree with scientists, though, you should have a stronger position.
Okay,
because I didn't buy what you're saying there at all. A lot of it would be conviction that would get me past the whole science thing.
Wait a second. First of all, you have a faux science stance anyway.
Well, you
know. And it's intimidating.
Is it good?
Yeah, you have a faux science stance. You have a thing like, don't try to sell me this, buddy boy.
Get on your fucking dinosaur and get the fuck out of here.
Right. So you're not open. You're not open to hearing my feel for food.
Right. The truthiness of food.
Well, organic cane sugar, I do think, tastes better.
I agree with that.
So is that Mexican Coke?
Mexican Coke is better than American Coke.
Here's what I've been doing, and I don't think that you have to do this because you can't even do the part that I'm doing, which is lower calorie sodas, but not artificial. They're like stevia.
Right, like that Coke Life.
That Coke Life is a perfect example. We don't get any money for this. But for example, this is how having a sponsor could work.
Right.
If Coke Life wanted to support us, why would I say no? What am I being a big man about? Because I couldn't get
principles to stand on here when it comes to free beverages.
Well, also, you also can't make a stand based on. You know, I never did well on commercial auditions.
Either did
I. So when I go in this podcast, I have to keep the same. You know,
my thing with commercial auditions was I would go to them and then I would later see the commercial with someone else in it and go, "Good choice."
See, I think the opposite's true. I think they pick the worst voices. They pick the most.
I knew I wasn't the right guy.
Well, that's true. Saying. That's true. I know. I happen to. I'm the one who got that commercial, which was for Efferdent. That's my go-to product.
Really?
Yeah. But
lack of Efferdent.
Your decision to go to a pun. There's not even an editing facility. You don't even run it through. Well, let me run it through my corny meter.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Discretion, when it comes to thinking and talking.
Okay. You know, that's also, if I wasn't so well-adjusted now, and when I say well-adjusted, I mean slightly less panicked, I would say to you, get off, something like get off my back or let
really?
Me, no, not really.
Yeah, I don't
no,
see that.
But here's the thing again, and again, if any listeners, you said that we have an email.
We do have an email. It is thoughtspiralshow@gmail.com.
Well, so they shouldn't send it to Thought Spiral,
no,
right?
Leave poor Thought Spiral alone, please.
Do we have to come up with an ending of the show?
I don't think on episode 2 we have to have an ending for the show yet.
Right,
we?
But do you feel like do you always want like a leave on a button, put a button on it?
Last show we faded out.
Okay.
This show, I don't know. What should we do? Should we just abruptly stop?